Ozone, of course, he's fulfilling mostly a coaching role these days. Still a sub if they need him. But
yes, he's still on the roster, but they're using him as much as they can, getting the most out of their teammate here. Of course, he also acted as kind of the big brother even when he was on the starting lineup, so helping coach the team out. And Lee Sin, the last man, as we talked about, Horo, don't want to give that to him. Will they pick up the safe Thresh first pick? Yes, Wolf gets his Thresh.
Yeah, Wolf also a player with a relatively small champion pool. Sona, Thresh, Zyra, really what he can play, and that's been really weighing heavily on us. Now the pickup of Kha'Zix for Dandy, that's more of a takeaway from Horo. Dandy will prefer to play Elise generally, but they are trying to just make Horo very uncomfortable in the jungle, and they probably will succeed in doing that. Notice they also take the Renekton in the first rotation, and this is really preying on SKTS's limited number of champions that they're capable of playing. EasyHoon may go for a Soraka or an Orianna pick right here.
Right, Horo looks like he'll just respond by saying, all right, well, Elise is still left. Not my favorite pickup these days, but I'll play it. And will we see a Twitch being picked up for Bang here next to the Thresh in the bot lane? Yeah, they'll just lock it in. And Imp highlighting Graves, but we'll see if he follows through with that.
Of course, Imp, a notorious Graves player, but it would be pretty surprising to see that pick. Why not just go for that Kog'Maw that's been working so well? Mata, of course, the consummate Leona player, often drawing those Leona bans, but he'll get it this time. You saw those highlights. Ooh, that would be an interesting switch up.
Ooh, that'd be even more interesting. That support Nasus. We all know how
could be mid Nasus.
It could be mid Nasus, but Zyra looks like they're pretty confident about that Zyra pickup. Now Zyra and Jinx, they do have a lot of kill potential. Anyone who can provide the first spot of hard CC. Same thing with Leona. He worked so well with Jinx. He was followed up with the Chompers afterwards and then get free damage. The minigun first and then chase through with your rockets.
Ozone really going to need a lane swap right here. The Thresh Twitch lane has some of the highest kill potential in a 2v2 in League of Legends, and with that Jinx, obviously you're going to burn through towers faster with the mini. Ozone lane swapping is going to be key, but of course that's going to hurt Looper on Renekton.
All right, and what will Marin pick up? We talked about this. Ozone trying to limit the champion selection of T1S. Marin's been limited out. They took away Renekton Rise ban, so he's limited down to some other choices here. Of course, Shyvana's still on the board, but Marin not known for her Shyvana play, always is opting for that, and actually just goes in and locks in the Rumble.
Okay, well, Rumble has always been one of Marin's default champions. He has a ton of Rumble games in solo queue. When he first started his career on SKTS, he played nearly exclusively Rumble. So very much a comfort, a pocket pick from him, and it's been interesting. So we'll see how he does in lane against this Renekton. But he's probably not going to get that 1v1 matchup. And Rumble, of course, not the most item-dependent champion in the game. You can, of course, do a lot in mid-game fights with your ultimate with just a couple, maybe just a haunting guys.
Really, yeah. Now, Ozone trying to decide what they want for pawn here in the mid lane against most likely that Lulu from EasyHoon. Ooh, a Twisted Fate. Going for that extra mobility around the map and some more hard CC just to lock someone down when they catch him, and it will be locked in.
I think TF is a great pickup here. You're going to be able to match the Lulu wave clear in lane, but most importantly, you're not going to beat SKTS in a team fight with the amount of AoE damage they have from Rumble and Twitch. So you're going to need to pick people off as they rotate over to an objective or start to group up. So the Twisted Fate, the pick composition here from Ozone is the way to go for sure, because they're going to have a hard time if the gold totals are similar, actually fighting through a 5v5 with Rumble and Twitch on the enemy team.
Yep, and of course, given the timings, Destiny could help catch out even that Twitch getting vision of Stealth Champion. So locked in for Ozone is this lineup you see on your screen right now. Meanwhile, on the other side, we'll take a look. T1S, Rumble top lane. And then Lulu mid.
Now the problem is that if they do end up in a 1v1 and Renekton's there, Rumble has fallen out of favor just because if he pushes up the wave, he is incredibly vulnerable to ganks, and the kill potential from Kha'Zix is pretty massive with Renekton.
Absolutely. So Marin gonna have to play his laning pretty carefully. Might actually, like you said, be okay with just getting that 2v1. He's not as item dependent. He can still join up at level 6, use his ultimate for the utility and some basic damage with the Haunting guys. So we have some newer picks in this game. I'm just happy because anytime one person gets caught, they'll probably die. Won't have to extend the team fight forever. So T1S and Ozone will be going at it in the second set for Samsung versus SKT T1. Can T1 tie it up and go into the master match, or will we see a 2-0 lead for Samsung as they try to catch up for the first seed in Masters 2014? Let's go into set number 2 to find out. And we have T1S on the blue side, as mentioned and seen in the pick ban phase. Ozone on the purple side.
So a bit of an interesting start here. Horo beginning with a ward, as you can do on Elise. It's one of the advantages to taking Elise, even in her nerf state right now, is you could drop it off early. And they will put it down just to look for a potential delayed invade of their blue. Horo heading now to the bottom side of the map. A couple wards going down for both teams. Do see the ward down in the river brush, dropped there by Mata.
All right. And Pawn Easium just keeping each other in vision in that mid lane. Wolf staying ahead of Horo to make sure that they can detect any invades coming in. So T1S all spread out. Ozone in a similar state. See a ping go down.
Imp just hanging out in the river brush, so he's just waiting to see how these lanes are actually going to be distributed here. Of course, the Renekton, it's a hard call because I feel like in the 1v1 and the 2v2, you have high kill potential in top lane in favor of Samsung, but you have that high kill potential in bottom in favor of SKTS.
So we'll see how it works out. And, ooh, Ozone possibly looking for a delayed invade here at the red, and Wolf has left his spot. Oh, he's come back into the brush. He's still there. He catches a glimpse of it at the very end, and Horo will have to back off. But Ozone, their job done, chases Horo off of that red and doesn't really give him time to respond with a good timing for his blue. So Dandy will get the red buff steal. Imp and Mata will then have to face the 2v2 against Wolf and Bang's Thresh and Twitch combo.
Now, the ward that was dropped into the red buff actually gave them very important information because they needed to know which direction Dandy was going. Because there was a small possibility that he might head the other way, go up and try and go red to red, which could have disrupted a double buff start from Horo, but Horo able to, he just moves up into the red immediately.
Yes.
And so he'll take that feeling safe on that side of the map so he can get the 2 buffs. He is going to be a little bit behind in terms of experience. There's a good ward, I think, so they know exactly where Dandy did. And the other ward in Tribrush prevented Dandy from actually getting off a level 2 gank. He knows that this lane is likely to lose, so if there was even a glimmer of an opportunity of getting that first blood or blowing a summoner early, it would have been appreciated for sure.
Wolf gets caught by a Zenith Blade, but a nice play in time. Mata and him trying to take advantage of their earlier level 2, but Bang and Wolf just level 2 as the new wave comes up. The middle of the lane. Bang and Wolf, and we saw Mata taking a ton of damage earlier, so that threat potential just being there in favor of Thresh and Twitch. Dandy putting down his Trinket Ward and just trying to limit Horo's jungling as much as possible, and we've seen this time and time again. Teams who target Horo the most tend to win out against T1S.
And Marin here, he's really doing a good job of zoning this Renekton off the wave with his Flame Spitter, being careful not to hit the minions. But that's fine, I mean, Looper wants that wave to push in towards him. He wants to open up the possibility of a gank from Dandy. Pawn eating some harass from the Glitter Lance.
Yep, but he'll be okay for now. Uses a pot. He went for the boot start, so had some extra pots there in lane.
That's good positioning from Horo, actually, because he delayed Dandy moving up into the topside jungle. So Marin able to just shove in this wave without dealing with any pressure in return. So now the wave going to be returning back towards him. They've got knowledge of where Dandy is, and they did zone him out for a few seconds.
Oh, Imp walks right into a death sentence. Actually gets flayed back after the poison. Imp, is he going to go down? There's the flash forward from Wolf to secure the kill. Didn't want to rely on just the poison damage. So first blood for Bang and Wolf.
Well, that's why this is one of the most dangerous lane pairings in League of Legends. It's just, once you get Thresh skill shot on you, the damage from Twitch early on and the fact that he's such a lane bully really does a lot of work. So if going down, Mata gets grabbed. They're not going to be able to break him through his W, though.
Yep, so Mata will be able to back off just fine. Wolf's just distracting him long enough so Bang can secure every last hit before letting the minions do some work onto that tier 1 and bottom. Meanwhile, Looper now has his teammate in the lane. Dandy slightly ahead of Horo, so he's willing to spend some time here in top. Marin is going to have to watch out. Flash is up now for Rumble, but so it is also for Looper's Renekton. We'll see how patient Dandy wants to be. Marin seems to be sniffing something out, so he's going to play it a bit more passive than he was earlier.
Yeah, I think he's wise in order to deal with this situation like this. They haven't seen Dandy in a really long time. He only has that one ward, that one ward in the river, so the potential for Dandy to be there is pretty decent.
Yep.
He's going to play it pretty close to the turret. Oh, he's been...
Ooh, Dandy just gonna go... Oh, no, he's really tempted to go for this kill. Marin getting very curious. They're gonna force the flash, get some extra damage with the stun. Dandy with another Void Spike. So they do get something out of Marin. Now, Dandy did spend a lot of time, but that just means that Horo caught up a little bit. He was way ahead of Horo in terms of the CS. He had 8 more creeps in the jungle, so he should be fine going back into his own jungle now.
Yeah, it's definitely a good use of Dandy's time right there, and blowing the flash is huge. It's going to prevent Marin from being such a lane bully for a while too. Looper also didn't use his summoners, so he's playing very patiently with them, saying, all right, you used your flash, now I can just all-in you next time and it'll be okay. He's also just kept up even in terms of CS, and you really got to hand it to Marin for his CSing on Rumble.
Yes.
As you Rumble players know that Rumble is one of the most difficult champions to CS accurately with in the game because his auto attack animation is horrible, and the Flame Spitter makes things a little bit unpredictable at times.
Yep, but Marin pretty skilled on that champion. Pawn having a little bit of trouble farming up here in the mid lane, but we'll see how things play out once both these mid lane champions are able to go home, pick up some items, and then Pawn will go for a roam. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Mata and Imp getting harassed so much. Imp way down in CS, about 15 difference, and ooh, that was almost a close call, but Wolf just gonna try to keep them zoned by using that death sentence. Of course, don't want to dive too early, but if you can keep Imp from positioning in favor of CSing, then that's all the advantages you want in that lane. Wolf returned with that Sightstone from their earlier back, and Imp actually forced to go for double Dorans just for a little bit extra health so that he doesn't get bursted down.
Imp also, yeah, like you're saying, those double Dorans are really going to delay his build right now as he tries to get that BT. Of course, Twitch much more useful with that Vampiric Scepter going straight into the Blade of the Ruined King. And Looper has been forced to get a cloak first just to deal with the Rumble. Of course, Marin opting for that very common haunting guys first build.
And Horo was seen as he tried to go for an invade. Mata tried to respond for a pinch flank along with Imp, but not going to find their target, so Dandy just going to move over to his blue buff. Pass it on over to Pawn's Twisted Fate, and Pawn, time is now starting to tick. This is that window where TF makes a big difference or not at all.
So he's just going to recall right now. He actually hasn't been back to base yet. He needs to pick up some items, and then he can start looking for some ganks. And Marin, this is going to be really tough for him to stay alive now.
Yep, his flash is still down. Only a little bit past halfway. Now, T1S, as we talked about, Monty, the hope there is Bang and Wolf. They got that kill. They're keeping Imp completely zoned. Pawn decided to push out another wave, it seems, before going back. And this bottom tier 1, just because of how little Imp can farm before the wave reaches the tower, keeps getting taken down bit by all the minions.
All right, so Marin going back right now, just pick up some boots and another couple pots and a ward. The thing about SKTS is they actually have an amazing dragon fight right now. They can go for dragons through the mid game and have a pretty big advantage. That's the thing that, one of the many things that Rumble is good at is getting you that early dragon control and maintaining a stranglehold. He can guarantee pretty much that you win all the dragon fights in the early and mid game as long as you use his ultimate properly.
Mid laners matching each other's items, other than a pink ward and trade of a sight ward, and a nice deeper ward in the lane by Pawn just to make sure he sees if Ozone ever decides to roam behind the wall, right outside of tower range. So good positioning on that one. That way, of course, Pawn can also respond accordingly if he thinks Ozone's going to make the first move. Although knowing Ozone's style, not so sure if we'll see that coming out.
Yeah, Ozone much more of a let me sit back and farm style mid laner rather than one who's very focused on active trading and aggression. So Pawn still looking to make moves. He does have wards all around him, so it's going to be difficult for him to find an angle to ult right now. And you'll notice they put a ward on that top side. They know that Marin's the target. Marin's flash nearly up, however.
Yep, and Looper just trading a little bit, slices and then dices back out. And given how both teams are playing, Monty, we're just seeing passive play, and probably for a little while they realize what the threats are. Now the ping goes down, Pawn was spotted leaving lane. He hasn't been seen yet going back in, and now they'll see him inching back forward. No, he's going to go back, not going to find Race. There they are, but he'll just go back into lane.
Yeah, he has been, as we saw, he has been going back and doing those wraiths. So the mind games are there because he could just be farming wraiths or he could be teleporting, and that's causing a lot of pressure on his
Meanwhile, bottom, we see Mata trying to initiate, but they don't get the RCC first. Chopper's not working out, but there's the Destiny and there's the gate, but he's a bit too far. Flash gold card, but onto Wolf, who flashes away. Bang has stealth. He's looking for the kill onto Mata. He gets the slow, but Imp keeps him at bay, and there's a lot of damage going down onto Bang. Imp making sure he doesn't get caught by that death sentence. And a nice gank of Void from Bang and Wolf. This will give Horror and Ozone a chance to push down this mid lane.
That really just wasn't very well executed by Samsung Ozone. The TF was a little late in terms of his gating. They all in, and by the time that TF started his port, all the CC was down. So it's really easy for SKTS to escape, actually. And now they're going to transition into a Dragon. Marin is not there, and Renekton is rotating to the pit.
The Dragon will definitely be taken by T1S, though, so we'll see. Can they turn things around? Nice death sentence from Wolf onto Dandy. He gets cocooned, but he will get out with a Summoner heal from Imp, and they're still chasing through. Glitterlance keeps two people at bay, but the gold card onto Wolf. His flash is down. There's a ton of damage. There's a leap, but a nice wild growth from Ozone, but they have to ditch Wolf. The kill goes to Imp, and Looper in time to pick up that assist. Marin comes down, but it's too late, so he just shoves up that mid lane. Will he continue putting work onto it? Yeah, he realizes Pawn is pretty low, so he's just going to try to threaten him out of that mid lane. Looper showing up, though.
Marin really should have come down for that fight. I mean, he's just not able to put a lot of turret pressure on with Rumble. And so might as well show up to the team fights that Rumble really shines in. I mean, we're in the middle of Rumble's like major power spike in the game. He falls off as we move into the late game. He really does. They're trying to go
Bang. He dodges the solar flare though, and Mana will actually have to run away. There's a cocoon onto Imp, but the Choppers keep it at bay. Bang gets caught again by the Zenith Blade. Will he go down to the Ignite? Yes, but Mana will pay for it with his life, and Imp gets pulled back by the Death Sentence. Wolf joining up in time. Imp trying to kite around his minions, but will go down to the execution from Spider Form on Elise.
I don't know why you would dive when you know the jungler is right there. That was a very strange decision from Samsung Ozone. Imp and Mana known for being aggressive, known for wanting to outplay their opponents, but that was not good. Yep. That was a really bad decision.
Ended up being very counterproductive. Gives a double kill to Horo. Not to mention another assist onto Bang. 2 more assists onto Wolf. And we saw Wolf with his lane partner being gone. He looks to see if they can maybe set up a gank in mid, but he's not going to see that. And Dandy spotted at the blue buff. So we'll see. T1S should have the timing on that one. Just pass the blue over onto Pawn's TF. Destiny and Gate are back up. See if that play comes up. A nice deep ward from Marin to keep note of that red buff timer and keep track of Dandy, basically. And Marin does have his ultimate, but...
Well, Marin, too, back when Rumble was a more meta pick and he played Rumble all the time, his Rumble, he always goes for the Liandry's first. You know, sometimes you see the Haunted Guy Sword Shoes into something like you know, a Giant's Belt for a Rylai's, but no, it's always about that Liandry's. It's always about maximizing that early magic penetration and dealing a ton of damage over time with his ultimate, with the Liandry's procs over the course of a team fight, and it looks like that's what we're going to be seeing once again.
Well, you know, talk about Marin's style. That's just what he does. Renekton always goes for that Tiamat first no matter what, so looking to build up that Liandry's on this Rumble. It will hurt a lot, but again, he has to be there. Missed his chance last time for the Dragon. So Samsung able to pick up a kill off of that one on Wolf. And Pawn and EasyHoon here in the mid lane. Just like you mentioned, Monty, wave clear equal across both sides, so neither one too worried. Dandy wants to make a gank, but just look at the warding from T1S. Deep wards, shallow wards, pink wards, green wards everywhere.
Well, this is what's so impressive about Ozone is look at the number of pinks they have down on the map at 15 minutes. I mean, it's always like 3 to 5 at any given time for them. They are able to just make the moves early in order to get them down, but you know they're a little bit lacking this game. So
exactly.
It is a bit surprising to see this from Ozone, and better warding definitely going over to SKTS in the match tonight.
Now top lane is out of wards though, so Dandy, is he going to look for a chance? But he decides, all right, well, Marin's already backed off, probably going to go back and ward. So I'll just go and go for that red buff. Mata and Imp have been spotted, so they're just going to take that pink ward out. Easy and playing it very safe. They don't want to get caught, and Bang just going to shove up the lane with the enemies gone. Horo going to come out and chase that ward down, and Wolf, what's his positioning here? What's the call? Bang almost tried to recall just in the middle of the lane, and they're actually going to find Mata first. Forces the flash up, but there's a flash. Destiny barely misses across the corner of the wall, and Pawn gets caught trying to Destiny Gate onto the bottom. Flashes away from the cocoon, but is it enough? There's the Wild Growth, keeps him locked down right outside of tower. Dandy in quite a bit of trouble. The gate could not be followed up from Pawn. So he pays for it with his life. Just
excellent warding all around the mid lane to keep control over Pawn here in the laning phase. And they're going to lose the tower for it. You know, a couple of failed ultimates from Pawn has left EasyHoon just knocking down this tower and doesn't get the ult off, is going to lose mid lane, and that'll boost up the gold lead for SKTS to 3K.
Yep, quite a bit. EasyHoon up 30 CS on Pawn. Dandy was spotted in his own jungle. And EasyHoon, if he goes all the way through, should find that pink ward. So they're clear that out. Now they have vision control of the enemy. Blue at the same time. Mata looking to pick someone off if they set up too early for the gank, but that's just going to be the tower at bottom. Bang will pick it up, and there we go. There's a lantern for Bang. He's trying to click on it, but he's trying to keep Imp here long enough for the flag. He forces the flash out of Imp's Jinx, and Mata gets caught by the cocoon, but no kills on either side. T1S got their advantage, and at the same time, Ozone doesn't want to commit too hard. Meanwhile, in top lane, Marin continues to now shove up as he's seen everyone at the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and with Dragon up in 2 seconds, I'm a bit surprised that we do see SKTS all recalling. I have definite control over that Dragon pit right now, and with the kill, they could have been able to do it, but I guess they're gonna reevaluate right now. They'll have to clear out a bunch more wards, however.
Yep, and look at that. Marin does pick up that Giant Spell after the Amtone, decides, all right, you know what, I guess it's not that necessary this game.
This is actually really surprising to me, Chobra. You never see Marin doing
exactly. Especially in the middle, you know, after buying that Amtone. So just using perhaps what could be better judgment here to adjust, even if it's in the middle of his build path, to what his team may need more from him.
Well, I think that when you don't have a dedicated tank, even though you do have the Wild Growth, you may need that the Rylai's a little bit faster. Also, you have to remember that a faster Rylai's will actually maximize his Bang's ability to use spray and pray. So I think that it's a more team-oriented and less greedy buy for sure, and I think it's going to be more valuable in their team fights, considering that Bang, he does have a bit of a CS lead.
All right, now Wolf, Easy Hoon, and Horo pressuring this blue buff. Bang actually walks in stealth unseen. He's going to put the ward down onto Mata. Mata gets slowed. Doesn't have his flash, but they've chased away Leona long enough. They start at the blue, but they don't want to get caught by Dandy right behind them. Looper is here, but Marin's on the way. The fight for the blue buff as we see Ozone putting down damage onto it. Death Sentence not going to connect. Zap will not hit anyone. There's a 4-man solar flame, the stun onto Wolf. Wolf gets caught by the Zenith Blade, but a nice play as Looper flanks from behind, but Marin puts the equalizer down, zoning out everyone. Imp eventually goes down to the damage over time from Rumble, and Looper now caught amongst 4 people. Couldn't take Bang out in time, and Bang will get the reverse kill as Marin now chases down to Danny, gets the harpoon, gears the flame spitter and the flash forward, but TF comes in. Marin picks up a second kill. Gold card too late from that gate, and Pawn will have to back off.
That was a godly Rumble ultimate to disengage from that, and they split the members of Samsung as well. So it was just so easy for them to kite backwards from that Renekton. And Marin really coming up huge. This is why he used to play so much Rumble, is he's so spot on with the use of his ultimate.
Yeah, that equalizer. I mean, the positioning, the way they started that fight, you know, they forced Ozone to walk into that narrow pathway, and that's where you want Rumble. It's the jungle. It's the home of Rumble.
That's right, you got to put that Rumble in the jungle.
Now Marin just comfortably farming up. Let's look at this again. There's a good solar flare.
Really good solar flare as they group up, but Marin is there, spot on. And look at that, Imp, Mata, and Pawn just on the backside. Dandy has to use his ult immediately. Everybody else just turns on to Renekton.
And Imp actually just died to the equalizer at the end. He kept trying to inch forward for some extra hits, but he miscalculated the range and the width of equalizer. Kept jumping onto it for an extra tick and an extra tick.
It's a silly way to die. Marin here just finishing off Dandy with Ignite. Pawn ults for absolutely nothing, and SKTS already with a 7K golden lead in this game.
Wow, at only 21 minutes, the game has swayed vastly in favor for SKT T1S. 2-0-1, there's the finish, Rylai's, and now if he goes for that Leandris, he'll do a ton of damage with every ability. Bang, stealthing in every time he appears somewhere, just trying to go for those assassination. We saw how much damage he can do to even Leona. Leona couldn't really go for any defensive items yet, just barely got her boots, and then the Sightstone. Nice Lantern to just scout out what's going on while they try to get some extra vision here for T1S. Horo jumping forward to get that big Wraith away from Dandy.
Horo going for the cooldown boots this game, so just trying to get his abilities up, playing more of a utility role rather than the common Sork shoes that we see for some more magic damage. But they have tons of magic damage already. And between Marin, Easy Hoon, and Bang with the Static Shiv. And Bang's Static Shiv, that's not the most common item. Of course, it'll give him better split pushing pressure on Twitch instead of that Phantom Dancer, but also, you know, it gives him a faster power spike in the mid game. And when you really want to deal as much damage in an instant as possible, when you have Marin land an equalizer and then you open up from a flank and that first hit from spray and pray gives you that chain lightning across the other team, people are just going to melt.
You know, now that we talk about those earlier power spikes, Bang does this with a lot of champions, it seems. You know, he wants to go for just that mid-game power spike. We saw that with his Lucian builds. Yeah, going for the early pickaxe. And now the Static Shiv on Twitch. So, making things work for his own personal style here. And the utility on Elise also going to help a lot. Just constant cocoons flying out. As you mentioned, enough damage from his teammates. And also, he's getting tanky enough so he can continue to put out that CC for his teammates. Still has good base damage. That's just what Elise does with, of course, that % health damage on her Q.
So Marin looks like he's going to be going for a Void Staff probably next, just to help cut through. I mean, not a lot of them are. Just a Hex Drinker right now, and the Spirit Visage onto Looper. And look at this, Pawn going for that more initiation style Twisted Fate.
All right.
Building into the
Zhonya's.
And I think that's good. Again, like, they need to get into the back lines onto Bang, because he's just going to be doing the most damage in these team fights because of Marin going more for the utility Rumble.
Now, Pawn also going for an early Alacrity enchantment. Most likely just to try to catch up to people with those gold cards, but argument could be made for, of course, Distortion for the flash. See how that works out for him. We saw Dandy and Mata looking for a possible pick, but no one nearby to bite that bait. Now everyone from Ozone starting to group around that top side. There's a Destiny Gate. They will get the gold card. Oh, it's actually a red, though, from Pawn. Still get the Solar Flare from Marn right under tower, and Marn will go down. Equalizer used a little bit too far off. Oops. He probably frantically tried to cast that down behind him.
It didn't really matter. He was going to die anyway, and the Equalizer cooldown is so short.
Exactly. It's, you know, you just got to throw those Equalizers down, kind of the same way you would play Gragas. Want to throw the explosive cast if you think you'll even have a chance of anything. And T1S just responds with, all right, you know what, you all-in our top laner, go for the tier 2, and Marin, he also took out probably more abilities than Ozone originally wanted to use. Because of that red card coming out from Pawn, Solar Flare had to be used for sure, and Ozone going right for a Baron. All 5 members are there, but T1S is coming up really close. Yeah, they're going to have to back off. Wolf is going to spot that Baron had been leashed.
Yeah, it was a good idea. I mean, they have to start looking for some way to get back into this game, and that would be a nice way to start. They're just being completely outclassed right now in terms of items. I mean, Easy Hoon is massively up on Pawn at this stage, already completing that death cap and additional blasting wand. On top of that, they'll get a little more gold now as they take a dragon at 25 minutes. Wolf has had much better vision control so far this game, and Ozone's vision, normally top tier, is kind of falling apart.
You know, it also just seems like T1S adjusting to this patch overall very well. That, you know, vision doesn't change overnight, but with all these other factors in play, they seem to have a better idea of how they want to go about that. And Mata, the guy known for this master of vision in League of Legends right now, struggling a little bit. And of course, all this gold advantage is helping Wolf out a ton. He has the Talisman already, has the Ruby Sightstone for some extra, you know, tankiness. Yeah, SKTS has just an enormous edge. Unless Samsung Ozone can get some pretty crazy picks, they're not going to be able to win this game. I mean, they would have lost on even footing in a 5v5, and now with the gold lead, they will just get absolutely smashed. Wolf just going to lens a ward so they don't see him leaving the brush, and then leaves the ward there. Seems as if he changes.
Ninja vanish.
There you go. So that ward will live another day. Yeah, his teammates pinging it for him, so someone else will go there and clear that up. Wolf's movement is like, no, I swear I checked. Oh, there it is. All right, so take out the ward there. Horo has to use his lens, but they have enough lenses on the team. 3 going around, and Horo just going to clear out the Baron pit, and the mind games will start to roll in here with the Vision Wars. Is T1S going to start that Baron? Ozone has to come forward with some wards, but nice vision control a little bit deeper from T1S. Wolf prepared for a death sentence. Dandy, yeah, he doesn't want to get caught by that death sentence, so he lenses, and he asks Looper to come forward. Looper will get caught by the cocoon, but dodges the death sentence, so he'll be able to slice out.
That was smart play right there from Samsung. Dandy rightfully nervous about that situation. Bang now coming up to join his team here at the Baron buff. They maintain that vision control. Another pink taken out. The problem right now for Samsung is they just don't have enough green wards. They only have those pinks very easy to find quite clearly, considering they are visible.
And there's the trinket bar going down, but not really going to matter. All right, so Looper, is he actually going to go back home? Wolf, I think he actually wanted to let him go back home, but Looper deciding, oh, I probably shouldn't actually stay in this brush. He's still at the far edge, though, so Wolf is actually going to just try to distract him, but doesn't find the target. Now, they know that Renekton is gone. Doesn't have that teleport. Came with the Ignite for both top laners, but no one else there for T1S either.
Well, one of the problems for T1S actually is that the top tower is still up, so they're not able to push the lane and get control over the top side of the map right now.
Ooh, but no wards coming in. Finally one from Mata across the wall, but it's already below half health. Can Dandy go for the big steal? There's the Destiny. Baron is still leashed for now onto Horo, but Ozone not interested in going in for a counter Baron. And Bang goes back before it heals all the way back up, but Looper chasing in. Looper's pretty tanky right now.
Hey, Baron, you want to regen?
There we go. A little bit confused Baron there, so T1S just going to shove up the mid lane, gain some vision once again. And they got the Destiny out, though, so TF's ultimate down for a little bit. T1S can keep playing this game, and maybe now they'll take that chance to shove up that top lane. Marin moving up top with a big wave.
Wolf didn't actually clear out that ward right there. There he goes.
Yeah, Wolf's having issues with wards today. Not sure what's going on, but he does get it eventually. Pawn there to keep that tier 1 safe. Looper gets harassed a little bit by Easy and chasing up with that Whimsy. A lot of damage, but that Spirit Visage is going to keep Looper pretty healthy. Has that Sunfire on top, and then a lot of armor. Doesn't want to get caught by Bang, but he has to watch out for the extra magic damage from Marin and Easy move then. Void Staff, of course, has been finished by Marin. He also bought those home guards earlier. So he just wants to move into the lanes as quickly as possible, join back up, you know, maybe he can come up with a quick backup equalizer.
They're still looking at in and around this Baron pit, however, and I mean, they need to actually force an engagement right here. They should be more confident in terms of actually pulling this one out, especially with Destiny down. There's not a good way for TF to engage, and if you look at that TF and you're like, oh, he's got his Zhonya's, well, he needs his ultimate in order to actually use that item most efficiently. So just go ahead and take the opportunity when you're already just massively ahead. Or they can push in the top lane. Like, I don't care what they do, but
do something. Oh, but Pawn walks right into a cocoon. There's a flash forward for Easy to secure that kill. The Wild Growth. Zonius gets used by Pawn, and he actually flashes out. But Easy chases forward with Whimsy. Meanwhile, Mana trying to respond with a Zen Blade onto Bang, but Bang had just gotten his stealth, and with the extra move speed, dodges the Solar Flare, and Wolf and Marin coming forward for a counter gank. They won't find their target, though. Ozone, I'm sure, almost had a heart attack there.
I don't even know why Pawn flashed right there. That was just a pretty bold use of that ability when he was almost certainly dead. And now he's not going to have that. Destiny back up. Pawn down for another 20 seconds. SKTS, please do this Baron.
Nope, no Barons. They don't want to get it stolen. Here we go. T1S starts that Marin playing the zoning game. He has Equalizer too, so we need to watch out. Imp actually gets caught by the Death Sentence, and Marin's just going to go right on top of that with the Equalizer. Imp completely out of the fight. Horo jumps down from the rappel, will finish off the kill, goes to that Rumble, and Bang gets caught by Mata, but Mata now surrounded by 4 people. Look at the stutter stepping from Bang to maximize his damage. A double kill for Easy on the other side of the fight, and that should be Baron finally for T1S. Pawn has that Destiny, but he's going to have to deal with this Lulu mid.
It's really encouraging to watch SKTS play a more up-tempo game instead of doing their usual turtling. I mean, they've just played very aggressively over the course of this game so far, particularly Bang and Wolf. And you know, Samsung Ozone, they've made some really big mechanical mistakes. They've made some very bad judgment decisions, particularly Imp and Mata. But Marin, man, what a hero in some of these fights. Just spot on Equalizer, setting up beautiful spray and praise for Bang.
Yes. And look at all that gold for T1S. Everyone about 2K or higher gold. See what they all buy as they go home. Wolf just wants a little bit extra gold for himself. Also get the timer on the enemy blue buff. And Dandy, sadly, just going to leash the red. Not even for himself, but for Imp. And the Leandry's finished there for Rumble. We see a Randuin's on Elise, but another Warden's Mail. So just wants to keep that attack speed all the way down on Imp.
Yeah, well, rest in peace, Imp's KDA.
Yeah, I don't really see hope for it, especially with the double Wardens. Of course, 1 Randuin's, 1 Warden's most likely will be switched into a Frozen Heart, it seems. So that's going to give even also more cooldown from Horo, although he should be maxed out.
Yeah, I mean, he's already very close to max. Oh, there we go. So Marin and Bang just going to clear out the mid lane, and they've got this Baron buff. What will they do with it? The issue that SKTS has is their siege is really not awesome. You know, Rumble, definitely more of a dive champion than a siege champion, so they will be able to engage efficiently under the turrets, but they have to actually get that window of opportunity. Easyhoon does have the Lich Bane, so at least he only needs a very small amount of time to just jet in there and get an auto down, but Samsung Ozone deciding not to actually defend this tower right now.
Not the tier 2, but they do want to keep their inhibitor safe. T1S going very aggressive though. That inhibitor turret is already down to half health. Bang taking some tower damage. He needs to watch out. Looper gets death sentence into a cocoon, but not the target that T1S is looking for, especially not under a tower that is still alive. And there's the shield from Health Picks, allowing T1S to take that inhibitor turret along with the Lantern Shield.
I think Ozone really should have engaged when they saw that Bang was taking those turret shots. That was the only chance they were probably going to have in this game. When you deal with a Twitch who's trying to siege and you have that little opening in order to punish him, could have made better use of that for sure.
And he's so scared. He just void spikes and then leaps out of there, doesn't want to leave a trace. Marin clearing out this mid lane as Bang goes backwards a little bit to help the minions catch up. And Pawn's just been shoving up. He has that Destiny Gate, but it hasn't worked out at all for Ozone, really, in any of these fights.
You have to give it to SKTS as well, because in the early game, they warded so well against the Twisted Fate, and he was their target. You know, they knew their bottom lane. Bang and Wolf were already winning. Marin was winning his lane as well, so as long as they limited Pawn's options, and Horo and Easyhoon really made it difficult through some fantastic warding around the mid lane for him to get a good gank off, and when he did, they just killed him.
Yes.
So, or when he tried to get a gank off, rather, he definitely did not get a good gank off.
Yep, he got caught in those wards, and the one time he did go down to bottom lane, it was a bit too far off. Horo Spiderlings will be spotted by the ward, but no big deal.
Well, 2 inhibitors down now. Ozone, this will be the first game that they would lose in Masters with their full roster. They did lose to the Jin Air Stealths when Deft was subbing in for him.
But with this lineup, they haven't dropped a game yet. Of course, Samsung also has featured some nice mixed games for Master matches, so we don't have as many games down for Ozone as some other teams, but see if they can keep that up. Look at this Elise, super tanky, has a Ruby Sightstone to boot. They just want to win this Vision
love it.
Ward.
I mean, they don't have an Ultra Bruiser like we see in a lot of the top lane. So they've modified Horo's build to provide more crowd control with the extra cooldown reduction and just additional tankiness. So it's great to see it like this super tank Elise coming out of the jungle.
Yep, and Bang starting to take some hits from the tower again, so he backs off promptly, doesn't have that Baron buff anymore. Yeah, gonna have to lifesteal back on some minions. Really needs to watch out. Doesn't want to get too aggressive. Easyhoon using his shield to help take yet another one. The third inhibitor turret down. Super Minions pushing up against that Nexus. So that's a free third inhibitor for T1S. Are they actually just going to try to pressure an end or wait for a little bit more advantage, maybe for extra Super Minions to push through here? T1S is keeping this base barren of purple caster minions. Marin shows up top. We have Hora. There's initiation from Ozone. Just the last fight to the very end, but Marin instantly takes out Pawn, the equalizer, dividing that fight once again. An instant double kill for Marin as Looper gets flayed backwards and Imp needs to watch out. Wolf's just charging forward. Dandy will be there and Imp gets pulled back, and a clean team ace for SKT T1S as they tie up the series at 1-1.
Well, that was a very different T1S in terms of style and strategy than we've seen before. Very encouraging from them, picking up a lot more aggressive champions. I mean, Bang, we think about this guy as really like the king of Caitlyn, and that very safe positioning, just wants to stand back there and auto attack, this time playing a